Earlier today, President Biden signed the Emmett Till Anti-Lynching Act, making lynching a federal hate crime nearly 70 years after Till's death. For tonight's Unfiltered, News 8's Alexis Rogers takes what led up to history being made today in Emmett Till's legacy through the eyes of an eyewitness, Wheeler Parker Jr., and Indy native and award-winning writer Dan Wakefield.
How can they admit kidnapping, when we turn them loose? How can you not follow up? But they had their own laws, they had their own rules.
It was understood that black people had no power. And the fact that they would have been convicted was understood then, as that would show that our way of life is no more, or we're the superior people by some law of nature. And so we get to do whatever we want with the people who don't look like us. That was just the general understanding.
I hate to think of it like that, because a life, where he died, he did more in death than he would if he had lived, I believe. Matter of fact, I'm pretty sure of that.
A year after his death, Rosa Parks said, "I thought about Emmett Till, and I couldn't go back to the back of the bus." In 2004, the Department of Justice announced the reopening of the Till case, thanks to new evidence and the identification of others that might have been involved. In January of 2017, author and research scholar Timothy Tyson revealed in a 2007 interview Emmett Till's accuser, now Carolyn Bryant Donham, admitted to him that she lied about Till making advances toward her. That interview was reported in a 2017 magazine article upon the publishing of Tyson's book, The Blood of Emmett Till. Bryant Donham's estate later denied that she made any such admission. In 2007, a majority black grand jury in Greenwood, Mississippi declined to indict Carolyn Bryant Donham, considering charges ranging from manslaughter to accessory after the fact. In the summer of 2018, the Justice Department reopened the investigation into Till's death with the discovery of new information. December 2021, the federal investigation officially closes. Now, nearly 70 years after Till's death, many more black lives have been cut short way too soon. From Carol Jenkins, killed in Martinsville, Indiana in 1968, to Eric Gardner,
Breonna Taylor, Trayvon Martin, Tamir Rice, Walter Scott, Alton Sterling, Philando Castile, Sandra Bland, George Floyd, and Dante Wright.
When you see their faces, do you see Emmett's in any way, shape, or form?
It's the same spirit that that prevailed during Emmett's time. You can't help but to think about it.
70 years ago, it was a photo.
Yeah.
Now, it's cell phone video.
Yeah. And, somebody spoke it years ago, I know how long ago. Pictures worth 1,000 words. And we see it in that. And if it didn't have that, those 1,000 words could not have been spoken. A lot of people say, well, all lives matter. They don't understand. And they did not live in the era I come from, when black lives, for them concerned, didn't matter. Because if you violated the Southern Border, you were gone. You could be killed. And all lives do matter. All lives are important, but they don't understand black lives wasn't worth a nickel, so to speak, in a sense. Laws make people behave, but it does not legislate the heart. So our people in America, in the South, they start behaving because, hey, these people prosecute you. Look what they did to Maryland and Bryant. And then that case over there in Georgia, Aubrey, they will prosecute you. That don't change their spirit now. Don't change their attitude, but it make them behave better.
Baldwin said a long time ago that the only way this country could become a nation was to bridge this gap. We just have to keep trying, almost like a battering ram, to just not let up. We have to rescue our own country from its backwardness, from its prejudice that's so deep. I don't know anybody who would say they were prejudiced. but I only know a few people who know our history.
Everybody reach what they sow. So tell them don't hate. And God said, vengeance is mine. Nobody gets by.
Is that what you think when you think of Carolyn Bryant?
Yeah. I wanted her to tell the truth, you know, and it's still not too late.
And the civil rights leaders gather here today, and most of all, the family of Emmett Till and Ida B. Wells. Thank you for never giving up. Never, ever giving up.
Now, in 2022, the Senate passed the Emmett Till Anti-Lynching Act, which will designate lynching as a federal hate crime, which headed to President Biden's desk. There have been more than 200 attempts to pass anti-lynching legislation. Parker headed to Washington to meet the president face-to-face before history was made.
The law is not just about the past. It's about the present and our future as well. From the bullets in the back of Ahmaud Arbery to countless other acts of violence, countless victims known and unknown. The same racial hatred that drove the mob to hang a noose brought that mob carrying torches out of the fields of Charlottesville just a few years ago. Racial hate isn't an old problem. It's a persistent problem.
A testament to Emmett's legacy.
He didn't die in vain, and that was his mother's thing. I hope you didn't die in vain. He did not die in vain.